one for the blood yacht.
Alrighty, welcome back, gamers, to the third and final video in my Menza Open recap slash review slash whatever the fuck. Where basically I'm going through and discussing my results and outcomes and games and tactics from the recent Menza Open tournament where I placed third overall. I'm sharing basically how the games went, what I did, and how I managed to achieve that score. So if this is the first video of the series that you've found, I highly suggest going back and watching this series from the start, because I touch on certain things in the videos that if you watch it out of sequence, it's going to be all fucking stupid. So just look it up, jump back, it'll probably come up as a suggested video or something down the side. Jump back, watch part 1, then part 2, and now this is part 3. And for those of you who have been following along, disregard everything that I just said, and let's get stuck into the third installment. I'm just going to grab a top up. So day 2, video 3. Day 2 is where my luck changed. So now I was in the seeded round. So basically this is where the better you do, the harder your opponents you go up against, because you go up against people who are also doing very good. So this is where it started. I mean, that started in the third game. So the third game that I played yesterday against Dirk, that was a seeded game. The first 2 games were randomized. So the third game was seeded, and this is my second seeded game. And I went up against James Smith. Now, James was running a demonic incursion with Heralds of Sinch, and he was just summoning everything. So it was a very difficult game to play, very time consuming. We started first and finished last, and I think that's just because we're both very psychic heavy armies, and that takes a lot of time, and he had a lot of models on the board to move, and he had a lot of powers to cast. So it's not just a simple movement phase each, it's like he had to move, then he had a whole cycling phase, then he had to do things with the summoned units, then he had to do his shooting phase, then he had to do his assault jumps with all of his stuff that he summoned, and then it was a lot. And he had a semi-Death Star as well, where the placement of his models was very important. So he spent a lot of time positioning them so that I couldn't snipe any of the characters that I wanted to, and also positioning them so that the guy who cast Cursed Earth, for example, he made sure that that guy was in a position where only his models would benefit from Cursed Earth. So he spent a lot of time pre-measuring and those sorts of things, which the reason I'm bringing that up is because there's something I want to touch on, but I'll do it at the end, and I'm going to try and keep it short. So his list was a combined arms detachment. So we had Herald of Siege, Disc, Mastery level 3 with the Paradox. That's the one where basically he can flip all of the dice. So if it's a 2, it becomes a 5. If it's a 1, it becomes a 6. If it's a 3, it becomes a 4. And basically he can use that to almost guarantee that any power that he rolls is going to go off. Because if he rolls it on 5 and 3 of them fail, he can flip it so 3 of them pass. And it also almost guarantees that he doesn't get a paralysis, because if he rolls 2 6s, he just flips it and they become 2 1s, and then he's all good. So, very powerful ability there. Then he had the Blue Scribes, who turn 1 turned into a D-Thirster, a Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage. So that 80-point model became 270-point bloody Bloodthirster. Then he had 2 units of Nerdlings, and then he had a Demonic Incursion. So he had a Warp Flame Host, which was Herald of Siege on a disc, Mastery level 3, 8 independent units of Exalted Flamers, a unit of 5 Flamers, and then a unit of 5 Chaos Furies with the Demons of Noble. And then he didn't run sideboards, so he just had the single sideboard, and that was just 3 more Heralds. of Sinch, which joined in his primary detachment. So he essentially had 4 heralds, a blue scribes, 2 nerdlings, another herald, so a 5th herald, and then some flamers and furies. And basically he joined all 5 heralds, the blue scribes all joined in with the exalted flamers to make a semi-Death Star. And then the nerdlings infiltrated to just get on objectives, and then the flamers and the furies sort of screening around the sides. And then basically, so with this game, I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted. My thought was obliterators. And the reason that I went for the obliterators is because I know that those flamers of Sinch get, the exalted flamers, I know that they get strength 10 shots. So I was like, if I bring the knight, he's going to try and shoot me down, and I don't want to give him that. In hindsight, the knight probably wouldn't have been a bad choice. But I also thought he's going to summon a Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage, and I've seen them take out knights like it's no tomorrow. So I thought that combined, the knight's not going to be a super strong option. So I went with the obliterators. And I thought, because I asked him at the start about how his list's basically, what is it and what's he doing. And he deployed it all, but he didn't mention that the heralds were joining the Exalted Flamers. He didn't specify. And granted, I didn't ask. But when I'm deploying, I like to try and make sure I am 100% crystal clear with my opponent what I'm doing. So there's no confusion, there's no possibility that they can say, you didn't fucking do that, So I try and be as crystal clear as I can, just to make the game smoother and make it more fun and make it sort of less surprises for your opponent. He didn't specify, so I assumed, mistakenly on my part, I take full credit for it, I assumed that they were separate. So I thought I'll run the obliterators, deep strike them in, and try and use the strength 10 guns to instant kill those heralds, which will drop his warp charge, which will drop his ability to summon units, and that'll allow me to get traction, and that'll be my Death Star, less to handle. So that's what I thought. It didn't work. It didn't work at all. Because he put everything in that big unit, he just look outside anything that went onto those heralds, and because he look outside it all, he just managed to, do his thing and get all the kills. So I didn't manage to kill his heralds. Then basically what happened was he got first turn. He summoned a bunch of units and used them to screen his Death Star. So then in my turn, I charged and killed that screen. Then in his turn, he moved back, summoned another bunch of units to screen. I charged them. And basically, I just kept getting tied up with all these shitty little units that weren't really helping, and he just kept moving away. But at the same time, he was throwing units left, right, and center. He was getting a lot of Maelstrom points. So Maelstrom points, he had a significant lead, but kill points, I had a significant lead. So it was a very frustrating game for me to play, because it was just, I couldn't get to that unit that I needed to get to, but every unit that I'd kill, another 2 would show up, and it was just so many units to try and get through. It's really difficult. But then what happened is basically, due to the fact that we're both playing Psychic armies, there was a lot of combats. Like there was a combat from turn 1. So every single turn we had to resolve 2 big Psychic phases, and then 2 big combats. And they weren't just little combats, that was 20 Flesh Hounds, so it was 60 attacks. Rerolling for hatred, so there was so many dice being thrown around, the game just dragged. And as a result, partway through our 4th turn, the tournament organizer walks past and goes, guys, you've got 15 minutes left. And we're like, yep, cool. So in my mind, I'm like, we're not going to get to turn 6. If it's 15 minutes left, it's turn 4. We'll play out turn 5. And then I'm assuming that the tournament organizer is going to go, that's the end of the round, dice down. So I mentally prepared myself for it. My opponent didn't. He was banking on getting a 6th turn. Now, there was a bit of a communication issue, I think. Like, we should have said to the tournament organizer, are we going to end on turn 5 or are we going to get another turn? Because that obviously is going to impact the way you play. But basically, it got to my turn 5, and because I went second, I split up my Death Star and I turbo boosted onto all of the objectives. So they were either contested or they were mine. And as a result, he had more Maelstrom points, I had more kill points. We ended up with the same amount of Eternal War points, which made it a draw. If it had gone for another turn, because I'd split up my unit, he could have easily picked off several of them, jumped onto those objectives, and claimed a pretty commanding win. But what happened is, I took a gamble and I thought, you know what, there's one or a 2, it's game over. If I do this, it's game over and I win. I'm going to pull a draw. Whereas if I don't do this and it's game over, I'm going to lose. And if I do this and it doesn't go over, I'm going to lose. So of the 3 possible outcomes, my best chance is getting a draw, and the way I'm going to do that is by splitting up. So I did it. We then rolled the dice to see whether the game would end, and it was going on for one more turn. So I was like, fuck, I've just lost. At that point, the tournament organizer walks over and he goes, why are you guys still playing? And we've gone, oh, because, you know, the game hasn't ended yet. He's like, I called 15 minutes left, half an hour ago. You guys are the only table still playing. The game ends here. What turn do you want? And we then just rolled the dice, literally just now, to see whether turn 6 happens. And we rolled that it does. And he goes, no, user overtime, the game's over. At which point my opponent kicked up a fuss. Because if he gets this 6th turn, he's going to win. But if he doesn't, it's going to be a tie. So he's like, no, we just rolled for it. We rolled that there's going to be a 6th turn. So we're playing that 6th turn. The tournament organizer has then fought back. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I don't want to get involved. I'm not here to fight. I'm just going to sit back and let them resolve this between themselves. And basically, the tournament organizer has said, no, you guys are the first to start. You guys have already gone 15 minutes past the time. I want to get the next round of games started. The game ends here. When then my opponent fought back, they went back and forth, and then the tournament organizer looks at me and goes, okay, what do you want to do? You know, do you want to end the game now, or do you want to keep going? Which put me in a moral dilemma, because I was like, well, now I'm talking to the tournament organizer. Obviously, I don't want to piss him off. So I'm like, do I agree with him, or which is going to piss my opponent off, or do I agree with my opponent, which is going to piss the tournament organizer off? So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to be fucking honest. I'm going to be super honest. So I said, honestly, I would like the game to end here. Because obviously, if it ends here, I'm going to draw. If it doesn't, I'm going to lose. So personally, being selfish, I'd love for the game to end here. That being said, I understand that the game should go for another turn. Because in an ideal world, every game should finish naturally by the dice roll. And the dice roll said, keep going. So we should keep going. So I'm a fence sitter. I'm easy either way. If you want to keep it going, keep it going. If you want to end it, end it. I don't care. I'm not here to fight that. At which point the tournament organizer has said, okay, well, let's call it a dice roll. Let's roll to see whether it ends. On a 1, 2, or a 3, it's game over. On a 4, 5, or a 6, it'll continue. Are you happy with that? And I'm like, yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm more than happy with that. My opponent goes, yeah, all right, I'm happy with that. So the tournament organizer rolls the dice, rolls a 1. Game over. My opponent cracks the shits. Now, I think he was being a bit of a sore sport about the whole situation, but I could also see, I could totally understand his frustration because he had me, you know, he had me right against the ropes and then the bell was called, you know. So I could see how that would just really get at you. So I can understand why he felt the way he did, but I don't necessarily agree with the way he handled it. Then, after the next couple of rounds of games, and I'm going to only really touch on this real quick because this is not the sort of stuff I want to be talking about when I'm reviewing a tournament, but after the next couple of games, the tournament organizer comes and grabs me by the shoulder and goes, come up, quick chat. We go out and he goes, James has put in a complaint about you and he's going to hit you with bad sportsmanship score. And I'm like, what did I do? You know, what did I do that was bad sport? I didn't You know, I didn't push for the game to end. You know, he rolled it, it kept going. Then you came over as tournament organizer and said the game's over. I didn't say that. Then you asked what I wanted to do. I said I was good either way. Then you came up with the idea to roll off for it, which I agreed with. He agreed with, and then you rolled off for it. I did nothing wrong the whole time. So for me to be called a bad sport for just going along with what everybody else is saying is bullshit. He should be the one that's getting a bad sport because he's the one that was kicking up on a massive stick. I didn't give him a bad sport because, one, I'm not the kind of guy to do that. You know, if you want, unless you cheat. If you cheat, then yeah, I'm going to hit you with a bad sports score. But I'm not here to hit people with penalties. I'm just here to play the game. So I said to the tournament organizer, honestly, I feel that that's unfair. I feel that I've done nothing wrong, and I feel that I shouldn't be penalised. That being said, I respect his right to issue that penalty, because every player, if you feel that you've been wronged, you have the right to issue that penalty. And I think as soon as you start denying people that right, that's when things can go really pear-shaped really fast. So I'm like, if he wants to do that, that's fine. I will cop it on the chin. At which point the tournament organizer has gone, oh, I'm going to go get him. He brings James out and goes, all right, the three of us are going to have a chat and we're going to knock this out. At that point, James admitted that he was a bit upset and he feels that he claimed I was slow playing. He claimed I was intentionally playing slow so that we would run out of time so that I would win. Which is ridiculous because he had a massive head start on me the whole game. So for me to slow play would be stupid. Obviously, if they've got a head start on you, your only option is to play through it fast to try and catch up. So to be accused of slow playing just fucking does my head in. And I had one unit, you know. I had the one Death Star running around. How do you slow play that, you know? Whereas he had 50 units, all of which were summoning more units. Like, if anything, he's the one slow playing. So he accused me of slow playing. He ended up withdrawing it and apologising because he admitted that he was acting on frustration more than anything, and that his real beef was with the tournament organizer, not me. And basically the point when the tournament organizer said, you know what, it's not acceptable, was when he admitted that he doesn't feel that I did anything intentionally wrong. It's like, yeah, Dean was playing a bit slow. I don't think Dean was intentionally doing it. He just played a little bit slow, which was frustrating. And as soon as the tournament organizer goes, so you don't think Dean intentionally did it? Well, then Dean's not being a bad sport. Being slower at something than everybody else isn't bad sportsmanship. Complaining about someone being slower is. So at the end of it, they removed that penalty and James apologised. And I basically said, look, James, in future, come chat to me about it, you know? If you think I'm being too slow, talk to me, you know? And I'll explain. I'm not intentionally being slow, I'm just thinking, you know? I'm trying to decide my tactics, you know? Like, yeah, anyway. I think there's no grudges held. I just think that was a bit of an unfortunate thing. I've been to a few tournaments now. It's the first time I've seen something like that happen, which was a bit disappointing. But at the end of the day, it was a tie. The bonus, so it's the same ATC mission format, so the Maelstrom, Eternal War, and Kill Point Differential. And the bonus objectives for that one was control the relic at the end of the game. So with this one, slight difference to the mission, where it was still ATC, so it was still Maelstrom of War with 3 cards, Eternal War, and Kill Point Differential. The difference was, objective marker number 6 had to start deployed in the center of the table, and it was the relic. It didn't get you additional victory points, but if you held it at the end of the game, it was worth more bonus points. So it was worth 3 bonus points, and I held it at the end of the game because I had my Death Star sitting on top of it, and he couldn't kill it, so he couldn't get it. So I managed to get those bonus points, which is what made it a tie in the end. So that's how that game went down. Enough talking about that because it's negative and I don't want to talk about it. I like talking about the positive stuff. Now the next game, extremely positive. Just let me get my list up. So the next game was against Jeremy Martino, and he came first overall. Here we go. So Jeremy was the first overall. He also didn't lose a single game, and he got pretty much maximum points in every game. Jeremy is an exceptionally good player. He's very, very smart, and he knows what he's doing, and he also has a very powerful list. When you combine those things, it's very intimidating to first. That being said, he's an exceptionally good sport. There was a few times where I nearly made a huge mistake, and he stopped me and went, "Are you sure you want to do that? Because if you do that, this is going to happen." And I was like, "Oh, good point. I don't want to do that. Thank you." And he wasn't doing it to try and trick me or anything like that. He's just a genuine good guy. So not only did he win the best overall, but I put him as my favourite player. I imagine most people would have, because he's one of those people who's really good at the game, and he wants to share that with you. You know, he wants to teach you how to be good at the game. He does a lot of tactical articles on Menza. He's actually good mates with the tournament organizer, so he does a lot of tactical articles and stuff like that. So if you want to get better at the game, check out what Jeremy does. He also does a lot of codex reviews and stuff like that, where he goes through the lists and figures out what's good and what's not. So he's definitely somebody worth listening to. Unlike me, who's a dickhead. Yeah, he's fantastic. So enough brown nosing. His list was fucking brutal, like the cheesiest of cheese. So he had Farseer on Skyrunner. He did run sideboards. So he had Farseer on Skyrunner, 3 units of jet bikes, all of them with scatter lasers, a Wraith Knight, and then an aspect host with 3 units of warp spiders. Now, this was the first game where I've ever played against warp spiders, and fuck are they nasty. They're so ridiculously fast and powerful and just insane. Yeah, they're not cool. Then he had a sideboard which is an Inquisitor and Henchman, which he did not use. He also has Wind Riders and Vol's support battery. He didn't use that sideboard. Then his next sideboard was just another 3 units of Warp Spiders, so that would have been 6 units of 5 Warp Spiders. He didn't use that one either. And that had a Warlock in it as well. This is the one that he used. So it had a Selexis Assassin, an Imperial Bunker with Escape Hatch, Void Shield, and Tank Traps. And he also had a Vol Support Weapon Battery with the Shadow Readers. So he used this one really smart. See, I was able to get the Alpha Strike on Dirk's Assassin because he didn't have a bunker. He had it out in the open. So turn 1, obliterates, boom, shoot the Assassin dead. Whereas against Jeremy, it was harder because he had it in a bunker back in his deployment zone, and then he put the escape hatch in the center of the board. So he then had a 24-inch bubble in the center of the board where he could get to. But in order for me to get to him, I had to go through that bubble. So very, very small shit. Nearly spilled my drink. Very, very smart way of running that sideboard, because it's a sideboard that's hard to counter. How do you counter something that's in an armor 14 bunker with a void shield on it? It's very, very difficult to counter. So I made a mistake in this game. I made a lot of big mistakes in this game. First big mistake that I made was I ran the Obliterator sideboard. And my thought process was, if I have the Obliterator sitting there, he's going to stay in that bunker. And then I was going to try and sort of move around that bubble, because you can get around, you'd have to hug the edge, but you can get around. And then I was essentially going to sit the Obliterators there, try and get around, and force him to jump out. The second he jumped out, las cannons. That was what I was hoping to do. That was dumb. I will admit that was a stupid mistake, because he just shot the Obliterators down. And then I was like, oh, fucking good one. what I probably should have done was gone with the Wraith Knight, the Renegade Knight is the word I'm looking for, because looking at his list, he's got the weapons batteries and the assassin, both of which aren't going to do shit to a knight. Farseer and the bikes aren't going to do shit to a knight, and the warp spiders aren't going to do shit to a knight. So literally the only unit that he had that could hurt that knight was his Wraith Knight. So what I should have done was take the knight, cast invisibility on the knight, and then run the knight at his Wraith Knight and kill it. And then once I've done that, he can do whatever he wants to my Death Star, because I'm going to have a Imperial Knight just stomping the fuck out of all those warp spiders and, you know, everything. That would have been my smarter play, but I didn't do it because I'm an idiot, and I didn't realise that until 3/4 of the way through the game that was the optimal option. And obviously the additional Psychers would have been an even worse option, because that's not going to help me deal with that assassin. And if all I had was Psychers, he would have just deployed out of that hatch and walked over towards me. There would have been nothing I could do, because the only unit I had was a Psychic unit. So I should have gone with the Knight. I didn't. I learned my lesson. And I guess I was too worried about countering his assassin. So I was too busy focusing on the weakness of my list, not the weakness of his. And his weakness was anti-tank. So I should have been focusing on what his weakness was and how can I exploit it, not what is my weakness and how can I protect it. So that was a mistake. That being said, I think given the list that we ended up playing, I think I played the game quite smart. So what I did is I basically looked at what he had, what I had, and figured if I go toe-to-toe, I'm going to lose. Because if I get close, he takes away my powers, then those warp spiders are going to fuck me up. So if I try to go toe-to-toe with him and fight him, I'm going to lose. That being said, his army is very short-range firepower. All those warp spiders, and you know, it's all relatively short-range. So my strategy was, I was just going to sit back outside of the range of his assassin, so there was no way that he was going to take away my powers, unless he came out of that bunker, in which case I was going to hunt him down. So I was going to stay back, I was going to get invisibility, endurance, reroll saves, and sanctuary. So I'd have 4-up rerollable to a 4-up to a 4-up, and I was just going to sit back, and then he was going to sit back, and his shooting was going to do nothing. And I was obviously going to do nothing because I had no shooting. And then I was going to try and win on objectives. And the reason that I made that call, that wasn't my initial strategy. My initial strategy was to try and hug the edges and try to sweep around and have his assassin jump out and shoot with the obliterators. That's what I was hoping to do when I deployed. But in my first turn, I drew my 3 cards. 2 of them were score D3 victory points if you achieve this. And I was able to achieve both of them from within my deployment zone. It was like hold objective 1, hold objective 5, and then hold 2 objectives. It was hold 2 objectives and more than double your opponent. And he held 1, so all I had to do was hold 2, and I was fine. And the other one was hold any 3 objectives. And there was 3 in my deployment zone. So I just jumped on those 3, scored both of those cards, and at the start of my first turn, I was already on 4 victory points. So I thought, okay, that's an alright head start. So then I thought, maybe I just don't let him table me. Maybe instead of going for a win, since I've had 3 wins and a draw, maybe I go for another draw. Or maybe I go for a narrow loss. I'll let him win, but not by much. You know? That was my strategy, and it was working really, really well. He was getting points, but so was I, and he had no chance of tabling me. So it was looking like it was going to be he would win, but only by a bit. And if that was the case, that would play really well for me. But then I got tempted by fate, where there was secure objective number 4, and issue a challenge. He had a unit of warp spiders on objective number 4 with an X-Arch in it. Then, behind that was his escape hatch for his assassin. So I was, and this was turn 5. So I was faced with a decision. Do I jump forward, kill his unit, getting a victory point, or a kill point, grab objective number 4, which would get me a maelstrom point, kill his character, which will get me another maelstrom point, and then also hold objective number 4, which will get me another 3 points at Eternal War, right? So that was going to give me a 6-point swing in victory points if the game ended there. So I was like, 6 points if the game ends here. If the game doesn't end here, I've just lost. He'll table me because he'll jump out of that escape hatch, remove my powers, and then blast me. So it was a gamble. I was like, if I do this, I could have almost pulled a win. It would have been a draw, I think, if I had jumped onto that objective and then the game ended. Whereas if I sat back, he was going to be like, so it was, I'm like, it's a 1 in 3 chance. I'm going to take it. I'm a gambling man. I'm going to take it. So I jumped out, got those points. We rolled to see if the game ended, and it went for one more turn. So he jumped his assassin out, took away my powers, blasted me off the table, and ended up tabling me. Killed every single thing I had. So I took a gamble. I don't regret it. I would do the same thing again, because really, if you're going to either have a loss, a 1 in 3 chance of getting a tie, and then a 2 in 3 chance of it being an absolute total table, yeah, I think it was worth it. I don't regret it. Probably wasn't smart. The thing I regret was not taking the knight. I don't regret the way I played. That being said, it sort of sucks, because if the game had ended, I would have probably tied. So that was a really good game. Now, some examples from that game, some things that I learned, were that warp spiders are fucking crazy. So they get to move 2d6 plus 6. Or is it 2d6 plus 10? Either way, they flicker jump. They move really fast in the movement and assault phase. But then also, if you target them with a shooting attack, they get to move again. So I had the Cyclopia Cabal with their Shroud of Deceit. My first thought was, I'll get 1 unit of warp spiders to shoot the other. But then I realized if I do that, I'm giving him free movement in my turn. And he was going to use that to move onto an objective and contest it, so I wouldn't get it. So I'm like, no, fuck, I can't even use you guys to shoot his own guys, because that plays to his advantage. So I ended up using him to shoot the support battery, and I didn't even kill anyone. So it was like, even that, one of the Cyclopean Cabal's biggest strengths is the ability to turn your strength against you, but it couldn't. Even if I used one of my biggest strengths, it worked out in his favour, because warp spiders are just bananas. But an example of Jeremy being an exceptionally good sport was when I decided to do that last gamble and charge his unit of warp spiders, I went to shoot them on the way in, because I was like, oh, I've got some pulses, I might as well shoot them. But I forgot that they could do that jump when they got targeted. So I've gone to move them in and shoot, and he's like, you sure you want to do that? I'm like, yeah, fucking why not? And he explained it, and I'm like, oh, good point. Because if I had moved forward and shot them, he would have flicker jumped out of charge range, and then I wouldn't have been able to get him. So he stopped me from doing that and allowed me to get that charge, allowed me to kill that unit. So it was really good sportsmanship on his behalf, especially considering it was at a tournament and he was so far undefeated. To give your opponent an opportunity to take that from you is massive. Absolutely massive. So I've got massive respect for Jeremy for that. So yeah, but I definitely learned a lot in that game, and the main thing I learned is I think I was being scared. You know, I was scared of that assassin to the point where I allowed it to cripple my decision. When really, I probably should have just got the knight, put invisibility on it, and ran the knight at the bunker that had the assassin in it. And been like, there you go, your assassin can get fucking stomped, you know. because if the only thing that he had that could hurt it was 2 shots from the D cannons, and if he's hitting on 6s, he's not going to hit it. So, and then that would have been so much stronger. In fact, I would love to, and if Jeremy, if you happen to be watching this, I'd love to give you a rematch with the same lists, use the same sideboard, but we'll imagine what would have happened if I had chose the knight. I'd like to see. I still think you'd win. I still think Jeremy would pull out a win, but I think it would be a much more interesting battle. Anyway, and the bonus points for that round were so this was interesting. It was you get 1 battle point, 1 bonus point if you killed more fast attack units than your opponent. You get 1 if you killed more heavy support units than your opponent, and you get 1 if you killed more elites than your opponent. So neither of us had any elites, so neither of us could achieve that. I had the obliterators for heavy support, he killed them, so he got that one. And then I killed a single unit of warp spiders, so that was that fast attack unit, and he killed a unit of flesh hounds, which was fast attack. So that was a draw, so neither of us got that. So I did deny him 2 battle points, or 2 bonus points, I should say. But yeah, that was the end of that one. And now we come into the final game. So this was the final game of the tournament. I've now got 3 wins, a draw, and a loss up my sleeve. And this was the game when I saw all the armies, I was like, that's the one that I want to verse. That's the one I want to go up against. Not because I felt that I could reliably beat it, just because there's something in there that I always wanted to do. And we'll get into that in a sec. So it was against Tim Roberts. He has a fantastically converted Tau army. So if you ever happen to see him at a tournament or anything like that, definitely check out his Tau army. It's beautiful. Not only is it really well painted, but he's got a lot of Forge World bits in there, a lot of aftermarket second bits in there, so it's really unique army. And then he's also got a couple of really cool conversions in there. One of them that I'm going to mention is he's got a Riptide, and he's got I think it's called the Piranha, the little zippy flying Tau thing. He's got the chassis, I guess you'd call it, of that, the fuselage or whatever you call it on a flying thing. He's got that as the chest, so he's got the thrusters coming forward and the thrusters out the back. But he's also kit bashed all of the normal Riptide parts in, so it looks proper. It looks like part of the thing, but it looks like that thing would just be, it'd be able to thrust jump, like just jump up and then just like fucking over there, like compared to the normal Riptide. And I was talking to him about it. He was saying that it was a Yavara conversion, and then he ended up buying a Yavara in the end anyway. So now we just use it as sort of Riptide. But yeah, beautiful model, beautiful army, and he's also a very, very good sport, and very fun guy to play. We were laughing the whole time, even though it was the last game of the tournament, which is generally most people's most serious game. Because this is the thing that's going to determine whether you're 5th or 10th. So a lot of people in that last game, they're fun, they get really fucking serious. Whereas Tim fucking laughing his head off, he was cool, good guy. Into his list. So Tim did not run sideboards. He had a commander with missile pod, drone controller, and 2 marker drones, target lock. Then he had Riptide with a bunch of upgrades. A battlesuit team with his single battlesuit with Flamer and Blaster. He had another single battlesuit. Then he had a fast attack unit of marker drones. So he had all of those drones joined in with his commander. And then this is the fun part: Lord of War Storm Surge. So he had a single Storm Surge with all the upgrades. And this is why I really wanted to go up against that, because the Cyclopia Cabal can make one of his units fire at rest. So I was like, if I go up against that, I'm just going to make that Storm Surge just fucking take all of his shit out. Which I was really looking forward to. And then in his sideboard, he has another Riptide and a Ghost Kill. So that's his 1350 points total. Very strong list. It was very, I mean, it's Tau, it's Riptides, Ghost Kills, and Storm Surge. So it was rough to play against. He won the roll-off to go first. The sideboard that I chose was the Imperial Knight, which in hindsight was a mistake. I think I would have been better with either of my other two. I probably would have been better off with the Obliterators because I could have, there was a lot of terrain, so I could have popped them up in terrain and started sniping off suits. Or focus fire all of that onto a Riptide, and you'd be surprised what you can do when you've got 4 assault cannons and a Riptide, or if you had plasma cannons or twin-linked plasma guns would have been really good. So I'm thinking I probably should have took the Obliterators, or alternatively, I should have took just all sorcerers because he has no psychic defense. So I could have made a really unstoppable Death Star and just ran at him and laughed. So I fucked that one up too. I think with this one, it was the opposite mistake I made with Jeremy. With Jeremy, I was too defensive. With this one, I was too aggressive. I thought that, first of all, I really wanted to see super heavy on super heavy. I wanted to try and get my Imperial Knight in with his Storm Surge and chop it up. I also thought he's got so many big baddies, big monstrous creatures, that those Strength D close combat attacks and the stomps would be really effective at helping me take those down, because while the sorcerers with their Strength 10 attacks are good, there's not a lot of attacks in there. So, yeah, I thought that adding that extra punch in the Knight, I thought was going to really help. And also, looking at his list, I didn't think he had that much in the way of anti-Knight shooting. Like he's got a few fusion blasters, but I guess I underestimated that, which was a mistake on my behalf. That being said, I think he made a few tactical mistakes as well, and we actually ended up on a draw with this one. So he won the roll-off to go first. He castled up in the far corner. So all I did, knowing that he was going to get turn 1, is I deployed in the opposite corner, because I know that my army is fast enough that I can get there and still have enough turns to chew him up. But if I deploy that far away, the majority of his firepower is out of range, which means he's not going to get that Alpha Strike turn 1, which means I'm going to get all of my powers off before his firepower hits me, and by that time it'll be too late and he won't have the firepower to take me down. That worked perfect. Where I fucked up was, since I didn't expect my Knight to die quite so easily, is I deployed that closer to him. So I had Cabal over here so that they could get powered up and then run in. And then I thought, well, why wait with the Knight? Why not run it in as well? So I started him up close. I ran forward. He took a lot of hull points off. Then I ran it forward again. He ran back. And then he dropped it. Turn 2. So that was disappointing. Kind of wasted the Knight. He did score me a couple of victory points though, because he happened to be lined up with objective markers that I needed. So he did get me a couple of victory points, but he did also get blown up and he didn't kill anything. So once again, the Knight sideboard didn't really do me a lot of favours. He attracted a lot of firepower, that's it. And it's firepower that wasn't coming my way anyway. So if I could go back, I would have loved to have just gone balls to the walls with the Psychers, deployed them out of range, and then just ran at him as fast as I could, and then got into him. But it is what it is. Basically, the way the game played out, it was one of those games where Maelstrom of War works against you. So, because I deployed all the way over in this corner, he was all the way over in that corner, I spent 2 turns moving up in the middle of the field. Then I drew cards that were back here. So I had the choice, do I go back and get the cards and get the victory points, or do I go forward and kill? And I thought to myself, the way I made the decision was I'm not going to table him, because there was a 4-level bastion just as part of terrain on the table that he had his Ghost Keel sitting on top of. And like, so in order for me to get up that bastion to kill him, it's going to take 3 or 4 turns. So if I do that, and since I only have 1 unit of Death Star, I'm not going to be able to kill everything. So I thought to myself, if you can't kill everything, the only way to win is to get more points than your opponent, in which case these backfield objectives have now got more important. So what I did is I separated off the Herald, and he jumped onto one, and then the Death Star jumped onto the other. And then in the next turn, I joined them back up again. So that way I was able to claim those 2 victory points and move forward. Which that worked. It would have worked a little bit better, perhaps, if I had a bigger unit. If I had taken those extra cycles, I could have chucked 2 cycles back and then moved the rest of the unit forward and kept going, and then caught the cycles up later. But because I only had 3 cycles, I couldn't take them out of the Death Star, because then the Death Star loses power and then it gets killed. So I had to drop back to grab those. And then basically in his turn he deep strikes down some suits. So I've moved forward, and then I got the kill multiple units card. And I'm like, well, fuck. I'm not going to kill multiple units over here, because he'd now spread out quite a bit. So he had a Riptide over there, Riptide over there, Ghost Killer on the building, Storm Surger over in the corner. So I was like, I'm not going to kill multiple units in one turn, because they're all too far apart. Whereas if I go back, I can potentially kill multiple. So again, I have to go back. So he was playing really smart by doing that. He knew I only had 1 unit, so I spread out, made me do all the legwork. And you know that that's going to work quite well. And it did. It did exactly what he wanted it to do. And the problem for me, it was one of those traps that you can't not walk into, because you look at it and you know you're not going to table your opponent. If you know you're not going to table them, you need to generate as many points as you can, as fast as you can. And you need to do that faster than your opponent, because that's the only way for you to win the game. In which case, every single opportunity you get to take a point, you've got to take it. So I had to jump back. I mean, an argument could have been made that if I had thought a couple of turns ahead, perhaps I should have gone up closer to him and not got any points this turn, and discard those cards. And then maybe next turn I'll generate more. Maybe next turn I'll generate more points. So I probably could have played it a little bit differently, maybe, but I still feel that the cards were working against me, and the fact that I knew I couldn't table him, I had to deal with what I had. So there was also, I made a huge mistake in that game where at the end of turn 5, this was a game we did right, where basically turn 4, it was because it was the last game, we were all, the tournament itself was running significantly over time, to the point where people were saying to the tournament organizer, you need to wrap it up because you said the tournament would finish at this time and I have other commitments. So the tournament organizer's arm was twisted to make it a short round, and he basically came over to our table and said, dude, you got half an hour left. So Tim looked at me and goes, you want to just call it at the end of turn 5? This is like halfway through turn 4. Halfway through the first turn of turn 4, like his turn 4. And I'm like, yep, I'm happy to call it at the end of turn 5. So I got my turn 4, then he got his turn 5, and I got my turn 5. So he still had time to react and stuff like that. So we made that decision early. So when it came my turn 5, I was able to, since I went second, I was able to split my cabal up and do the similar thing what I did to James, where I've gone and jumped on all the objectives that I needed. The problem was, we ended up on a draw, victory points. But the reason we did that is because I failed a charge of 4 inches with my Herald. Had I successfully got that charge, I would have killed his Ghost Kill with my Herald, and then I would have claimed that objective marker. So I would have got an additional kill point, and then I would have got an additional Maelstrom point from that marker, plus I would have got an additional 3 Eternal War points. So I would have got an additional 5 points, which would have given me a significant victory. Because it would have been, instead of being 10 to 10, it would have been like 6 to 5 or whatever it was, 6 to 15. So it would have been a significant victory. But I forgot that cavalry come with fleet as standard. So the Juggernaut gives the Herald fleet. So I would have been able to, I rolled a 3 and a 1, and I needed a 5-inch charge. So I could have re-rolled that 1, and as long as I didn't roll another 1, I would have made the charge, and I would have smashed that Ghost Keel, and I would have fucking won. But I forgot that I had fleet. And then we entered the scores, we submitted them, we were sitting around talking after the game as we were packing our stuff up, and I'm just going, oh my fucking god, I forgot that I had fleet! Ah! And Tim is an exceptional bloke. He offered to redraw the scores and play it out. He said, you're right, you did have fleet, you should have made that charge. You should have got that. Do you want to resolve the combat? Do you want to do it? And I'm like, no, mate, we've already submitted the scores. I'm not going to be that guy who's going to be like, no, go back. Once you've hit submit, the game's over. If you forgot that you had a rule, then you forgot. I forgot that I had that rule. That's on me. I should know how I'm a bit better. So, yeah, unfortunately, I took that on the chin and I settled with a draw. That being said, 3 wins, a loss, and 2 draws was enough to put me in 3rd place. Because the majority of people would get in 3 wins, 3 losses, or less. So to pull those draws was good. And the margin between me and the person who came 2nd overall was high enough that even if I turned one of those draws into a win, I still probably wouldn't have come 2nd, because he was higher up there. Some of the lists that we saw, so I've run you through now, that's the end of the 6th game. The bonus points for that was score more Maelstrom cards than your opponent, was the bonus points for the last mission, which I believe he got. Maybe, I can't remember. Either way, it was a draw. Some of the other links. So this was a non-comp event. You can literally take anything except for Unbound. So the person who came first overall was Jeremy. So you saw his Warp Spider craziness, right? The person who came 2nd overall had 2 Riptide wings. So like 6 Riptides. I was lucky enough that I didn't go up against him. He had like 6 Riptides, 2 Sky Rays, and some other stuff. And basically every single game that he had, if he got the first turn, the game was over by turn 2. So he very, very strong list. Also a very, very strong player. This is Kane Marshall. He's very, very smart. There's been quite a few times when I've been having just a casual game and he's come along and he's seen a few things and he's pointed it out to us like, oh, if you did this and that and whatever, and you look at it and you go, he really gets the game. He really knows what's going on, whereas I'm one of those people where I just sort of play it for the fun of it, generally. So I sort of miss a lot of those tactical opportunities, whereas he's not one of those people. He's really good. Then it was me in 3rd place with my Cyclopia Cabal Death Star. And then 4th overall was Michael Hamilton. And he was running Tau with, I believe he had Allied Eldar. I didn't actually see his list and I didn't go up against it. But I believe it was definitely Tau. I can't remember I think it was Tau and Elder Scatterbites, if I remember correctly. So it was really, really funny. At the end, the 4 of us, top 4, are standing up there, and at one point somebody pointed out, someone in the crowd pointed out that I was the only player up there that didn't run Tau or Eldar. So everybody started screaming out that I should have got 1st overall and that the Elder people should fuck off and that the Tau people should fuck off and give it to the Chaos guy, which was fucking hilarious. But yeah, that was probably my only complaint from the tournament, other than the incident with the sportsmanship, which was a bit unfortunate. My only complaint was that you look at the list and you go, there were so many Tau armies. Just so many Tau armies. You know, if they weren't Tau as the primary, they were Tau allies. And if they weren't Tau, they were fucking Eldar. There was Eldar everywhere. There was a lot of Wraith Knights running around. There was a lot of Warp Spiders running around. There was a lot of Jet Bikes running around. It was like, I'm sick of these units, you know? I was lucky enough that I played 5 different... Oh, I played 2 Tau armies and an Eldar army. But it felt like quite a variety of armies for me. But for most of the people, like I was talking to Dirk, who plays Tau, and he went up against 3 Tau players. I'm like, that's just too much Tau in a single tournament, you know? Whereas the thing about community comp, and for those of you who don't play it, I definitely suggest looking it up, because what community comp does is they basically allocate a number of comp points to, or credits, they call them, to overpowered units. So the more powerful a unit is for its points, the more comp credits it costs. And then generally a tournament will say you're allowed to spend up to this many credits. So, for example, Warp Spiders are a credit. So if they say you're only allowed to spend 8 credits, you're only allowed to take a certain amount of Warp Spiders before you've gone over that credit limit. You can't take any more. So even though they cost a certain amount of points, you can still spend your 2008, 1850, whatever point limit you're playing to. Once you get to the credits, you then have to start taking units that don't cost credits. So it forces you to take a variety of units, and it forces you to take the units that most people you don't see in competitive games. And things like a Wraith, things like a Riptide, for example, are a lot of credits. So in a non-comp game, you can go, yeah, I'm just going to bring fucking 6 Riptides and nothing else. You can't do that in community comp. You have to take 2 Riptides and a bunch of Fire Warriors and a bunch of suits and a bunch of drones and a bunch of crew, you know. You have to take that in order to get the points. So I much prefer the community comp games for that reason. But yeah, this was a non-comp game, so there was a lot of silliness. But I still enjoyed it, and it clearly wasn't as, like, I was expecting it to be really difficult, because I was expecting it to be just like hundreds of Riptides, you know, hundreds of Wraith Knights, you know. But I still managed to pull a 3rd overall, so it can't have been that difficult, because I'm not the world's greatest player, you know. So to manage to pull a 3rd using a Chaos Space Marine army, essentially, is, that's got to be some testament to it, I guess. That's also a testament to the sideboards, I think, because especially in the first 3 games, I was able to use the sideboards effectively to give me an upper hand on my opponent, whose list could have been more powerful than mine. You know, if I didn't have sideboards, Dirk would have smashed me, because he would have got that assassin out, he would have taken away my powers, he would have killed me. And I would not normally bring obliterators in a list, so having the sideboards definitely helped me out there. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I can think about the Men's Open. I want to do a last little bit of a recap, a shout out to House of War, which was the venue. If you guys haven't been to House of War, it's located in Ringwood in Victoria, in Melbourne, and it is the single greatest shop in the world. It is fucking awesome. It's a giant wargaming store with all the board games you can imagine. They do Magic the Gathering, they do all the card games, they do every tabletop game from Malifaux to Drop Fleet Commander to 40k to Age of Sigmar to fucking War Machine and Hordes, and they do everything. But also they host most of the Melbourne 40k tournaments. They got room for, I think they did 120 players at one of them, like it's a big space. And they have a bar in there. And they do food, they do hot dogs, they do sausages, they do like sausage rolls and pies, and so it's got alcohol, it's got food, it's got room, it's got beautiful tables, shitloads of terrain, shitloads of room, like it's not cramped, you can have plenty of room. And the best part of all is the staff. They know you by name, they're the most casual, friendly, nice people you'll ever meet. You go in there, you know, the amount of times where I've gone in there with an Apocalypse game and I've just gone, do you guys mind if I put a couple of tables together? And they're like, yeah, fucking do whatever you want. you can just change up their shop. They don't mind. They're really supportive of the community. They're fantastic. I love them. So House of War, definitely check them out. Next shout out goes to the Menza guys. So menzagaming.net. Fantastic guys, all really good sports, and they are definitely really good at the tournament organizer, community involvement stuff. And a lot of the stuff that they do, they put out of their own pocket. Like, there is no way that they covered the cost of the trophies and the vouchers and the venue hire and all of that with the entry tickets. There's 20 people at $60 a pop, so $1,600. There's no way these trophies would have been a couple $100 a pop easy, because that's solid marble with glass, bloody etched, custom trophy. There's no way that these things are cheap, So there's no way that they've just paid for this out of the money they made. They have to be putting in their own funds to make this tournament happen, which is fantastic. Anyone that's doing that for the community is, definitely deserves a thank you. So this is my official thank you to Menza Gaming for hosting that event. And if any of you guys happen to see a Menza Gaming event, definitely check it out, because they run a fun event. They run a good, clean, organized event. So if you're up for a 40k event, they also do Age of Sigmar events. I'm not sure if they're planning on expanding off into other systems, but they do Age of Sigmar and they do 40k, and they do it really well. Also, a huge thank you to all of my opponents. Every single one of them was a fun game. There were a few times when I was a little bit less than impressed with some of the stuff that's happening, but overall, I enjoyed every game. As the nature of 40k, you're not always going to be loving what's happening, because you're going to be failing saves that you want to pass. You're going to be getting perils when you don't want to. You're always going to hate something in every game. But overall, I loved every game. And even just in the lunch breaks, talking to you guys and talking to my opponents and socializing and meeting people, I think a lot of that is what 40k is all about. It's not just about, let's play a bunch of games and kill a bunch of shit, It's about socializing, especially for people like me with mad social anxiety. Like, it's really positive and healthy for the people to get out there and do that sort of stuff. So I really appreciate the games. And last but not least, I'm going to touch on PAX. So for those of you who don't know, PAX is the Penny Arcade exhibition. They're in Melbourne this weekend, coming up. And the top 4 players, which includes myself, have been invited to PAX to play live film games in front of hundreds of people, thousands of people at PAX. We're going to essentially do a playoffs of the last final 4 players. So player 1 will go against player 4, player 2 will go against player 3, and then they'll fight off, and then the winners of those 2 games will fight off to get the ultimate champion claim. But we're also going to be doing, there's also tons of 40k exhibitions that they're doing. Menza are doing I think they're calling it Paxopolis, or no, Paxageddon, I believe they're calling it. Where basically they're retelling the first war, not the first war, the second or third war of Armageddon, along with the orcs. They've built on all these tables, and they built all these armies, and they're doing all this orc stuff. We're also doing the tabletop trainer stuff, so we're teaching people how to play a game, we're teaching people to get involved. So if you haven't looked that up, look up PAX. I think it might almost be too late. So if you see this video, get on it straight away. And if you're seeing this video at a later date, just keep it in mind for next year or future years. Check out PAX, because there's a lot of 40k and a lot of just general tabletop stuff there. But I'm going to be attending this year, and I'll be bringing my army down, and I'll be playing, and those battles will go up on the Menza Gaming YouTube channel. And there'll be battle reports where the entire battle's going to be filmed. It's not going to be summary style. It's going to be basically, I'm going to be playing against somebody, and there'll be a third person filming it all and narrating it and all of that sort of stuff. So definitely worth checking that out. And once again, if you feel that I've missed anything or you have any questions about the tournament, please ask, because I know I've been rambling. An organised person would have made notes on things they wanted to cover off, and they would have done it. just sort of got the camera set up and started. So I know I've missed stuff. I know I've rambled. I've probably repeated myself 1,000 times. I'm probably on my 4th or 5th drink. So God knows. But as always, thank you very much for watching. And the biggest thank you goes to you guys. People who are actually taking the time to listen to my shit. I don't even like listening to my shit. So, so thank you for your continued support on blog for the Blood God. And let me know what sort of content you want to see. Do you want to see more of this sort of tactical stuff? Do you want to see more reviews? Do you want to see, yeah, let me know. Because I love generating content for you guys. It's a passion of mine. And yeah, I look forward to creating more content with you guys in the future.
One for the Blood God.